this tutorial I want to show you through the remove syntax for a record when using Immutable.js from Facebook. What I want to do is just go over to my IDE and show you a test that I've got set up. We can see here within this test that we've got a couple of different syntaxes, and we've got a test set up where given we have an immutable record, then the record should hold a given value. When we update that value, then the record should have the new object, and when we remove that value, then the removed value should be the default. So I just want to go through this just a little bit. It's already in one of the other tutorials which I'll link to now, but also what I can do is I can show you through the rest. So here we've got a person object that we're setting up, and we're going to check to make sure that the values are okay. Then we're going to set a value and make sure that person 2 is different than person 1. What I want to do now is just go through the next bit, which is to set up removing a value. I'm going to create a person 3, which equals person 2, but we're going to actually remove and I'm going to remove the first name. Now if we look at this test, what should happen now is assert for the first name should actually be back to the default value of Gary. So this name should equal Gary. If I look at that, retests have passed. What I always do is I just put something silly in there and run my tests again, just to make sure. So yeah, it's definitely coming back as Gary. So just to run over through this, first name 3 was taken from person 3's first name, which is Gary, was taken off person 2, and person 2's was actually updated to be Bob, as you can see here. But actually what we've done is, because we've removed the first name, it's not actually removing it. What it's doing is it's taking its value and saying, no, put you back to the default. So if we look at the top, the default was actually here. So we can see now that we have the ability for it to always remember where it came from. So first name now is Gary. If we have a look at 2, I can see that that should fail. It should come back as Bob, because first name for person 2 was in fact Bob, as we have in a test above. Now that should pass. And the original record that it came from, which was person 1, was actually Gary as well. So put that in, and hopefully we should have a full passing test. Yes, we do. And as I always do, just double check. And absolutely, we've got Gary there being passed in. So we now have the ability to have these default values in place for a record. Whenever we want to reset that, we can just use the remove, and that will take that out, and person 3 will then be that value plus the default. And also things like the surname or any other property that was in this person object will be in there as well.